The rules were never written down, only whispered between tired mouths at checkout line 4. Never answer the intercom after 3:17 a.m. Never mop aisle 9 unless the lights flicker twice. And above all, never speak to the woman with no name. In the frozen section, my name's Raul. I work the graveyard shift at a Kroger in southern Texas, off a half-dead interstate where the humidity clings to your skin like old guilt. You'd think grocery stores are quiet at night, predictable. Fluorescent lights buzzing, floor polishers humming, stock boys cussing under their breath. And for the most part, that's true. Until you stay past 3 a.m. Then, everything changes. It started my second week on the job. The manager, Charles, wiry guy, big eyes like he's always seeing more than he says, handed me the floor assignment sheet. "Stick to your aisles," he mumbled, "and if you see the freezer door open, close it, fast. Don't look inside." He didn't say it like a joke, and I didn't laugh. I thought maybe he was trying to haze me. But the other guys, Darnell and Anita, looked away like they didn't want to be part of that conversation. That night, I worked the produce section. A few rotten apples, some sticky kale bins, and a smell I couldn't place. Something metallic and old. I chalked it up to mildew. But then at 3:17 a.m. on the dot, the intercom crackled. Manager to back room. Manager to static. Then silence. Charles didn't move. He just shook his head. "Ignore it." "But I said ignore it." Nobody spoke. Anita dropped a can of green beans she was stocking, hands shaking like she'd touched cold iron. That was the first time I knew these weren't just weirdos. They were afraid. Later, during my 10-minute break, which always had to be taken outside, rule number 4, I asked Darnell about it. He leaned against the loading dock wall, lit a Newport, and didn't meet my eyes. "They don't write the rules down," he said. "That way they can't be broken on accident. You only learn them when you need them, or when it's already too late." Rules? Like what? He looked at me then. Not mad, not scared. Pitying. "Don't clean aisle 9 unless the lights flicker twice. If they do, you mop fast and leave. If they don't, and you mop anyway." He inhaled sharply. Last guy who did that, Mitchell. They found his mop wedged through the cereal rack, like it was stabbed. No sign of him. Just a name tag. Upside down. I laughed, but it felt hollow. "Come on, that's..." Darnell just walked off, muttering rule number 5. Never laugh after hearing a rule. The week crawled by. I kept my head down. I stocked and mopped and clocked in and out like a good night crawler. But the strange stuff got harder to ignore. The security cameras? Useless. They recorded fine until 3:16 a.m., then just black screen until 4:01. The freezer? Always closed tight before we opened at 11 p.m. But by 1:45, the left side door creaked open. Every damn night. I timed it, watched it. There was nothing there. But when I looked away for even a second, the boxes inside would rearrange themselves. Sometimes the ice cream cartons formed letters. Once, they spelled, "Stay out." Then came the night the lights flickered, in aisle 9. It was a Wednesday, storm rumbling somewhere far off, the air inside charged like it knew something I didn't. I was rolling my mop bucket past the condiments when the overhead fluorescents buzzed and blinked. Once, twice. Froze. The rest of the store kept going like nothing happened. But I remembered what Darnell said. 2 flickers. That meant I had to mop aisle 9. I shouldn't have done it. I know that now. But back then, I was still testing things. Still trying to prove to myself that it was all a joke. Just tired minds and night shift paranoia. So I wheeled the bucket to aisle 9, the cereal and breakfast goods section, and began mopping fast. I focused on the rhythm. Push-pull, squeeze, twist, push-pull. At first, it was fine. Then the sound changed. The mop wasn't sliding over tile anymore. It scraped, like it was dragging over stone. I looked down. The floor wasn't linoleum anymore. It was old stone, cracked, blackened, like from a fire. I stumbled back, heart pounding. But when I blinked, the floor was back to normal. I finished the aisle, fast. My hands were shaking as I wheeled the bucket back. When I got to the break room, Anita was already there, eyes wide. "You mopped, didn't you?" I nodded. She looked sick. "What did you hear?" "Hear?" "You always hear something in aisle 9 if the lights flicker." I didn't want to answer, but I did. I heard whispering, but like, "Under the floor." Her face turned white. She handed me a packet of salt. "Put this in your pockets, both sides, tonight and every night, and don't speak to her if you see her in Frozen." "Who?" "The woman with no name. If you see her reflection in the freezer glass, but not in real life, walk away backwards. Do not let her notice you." I laughed again. Couldn't help it. Anita just stared. "You're new," she said. "You won't laugh forever." The next night, I didn't see anything strange. Maybe the mop thing was in my head. I tried to convince myself that the floors just looked weird under flickering light. That night shifts do things to your brain, and maybe they do. But the woman showed up the night after that. It was 3:34 a.m. I was facing the freezer section, restocking popsicles. My reflection stared back at me from the glass, and beside it, behind me, stood a woman. She wore a blue Kroger vest, pale arms, long black hair that hung wet and heavy. But when I turned around, no one was there. Back in the glass, her reflection remained smiling. I did what Anita said. I walked backward, slow, 1 step, 2, never taking my eyes off her. Her smile didn't move, but her reflection tilted just a little, like her head was following me. Then I blinked. She was gone, but something scratched the inside of the freezer door from the inside. I nearly quit that night, but when I told Charles, he just looked tired, like he'd had this same conversation 100 times. "You'll either make peace with it," he said, "or you won't." "What is this place?" "Old. Built on older. The store's new, but the ground's not. That woman, she's not the worst thing here. That was 3 weeks ago." I've stopped asking questions. I keep salt in my pockets. I don't mop aisle 9 unless the lights flicker twice. And I've never, not once, answered the intercom after 3:17 a.m. But I still see things. Tonight, someone's whistling from the loading dock, a tune I don't recognize. And I checked. No one's scheduled back there. The freezer is open, again, and the security camera by aisle 12 keeps glitching. Not black screen, but static shaped like a face. I think the store is watching us, and I don't think it wants us to leave. If your badge scans red instead of green, run. If the time clock says 3:14 a.m. but your watch says 2:52, run. If someone else tries to clock out with your name, it's not you. And if you hear breathing in the locker, but no one else is around, it's already too late. I learned the next rule the hard way. It was supposed to be a normal shift. I was 3 weeks in by then, and I'd fallen into a rhythm. Keep your head down, follow the unwritten rules, don't try to make sense of the impossible. I'd become like the rest of them, numb, obedient, suspicious of every light flicker, every echo, every cold gust that didn't match the air vents. But that night, I got cocky. I'd made it to 4:02 a.m., shift nearly over. No whispering. Floors, no freezer reflections, no static faces in the cereal aisle. Darnell even cracked a joke about the expired Lunchables feeding the void. I was laughing again. That was my mistake. Don't clock out alone, Anita had warned me 2 nights earlier. Rule number 7, I had asked why. She just said, the clock gets confused about who's real, about who belongs. I'd nodded, filed it away, but I didn't really believe her. Not until the clock turned red. Everyone else was finishing up, mopping, locking carts, stacking pallets. Darnell had disappeared to smoke out back. Anita was in the bathroom. Charles was on a call in the office. I figured, why not clock out first? Beat the rush? Maybe even catch Darnell for a quick ride share. I walked into the back hallway where the employee lockers stood. A tight, dimly lit space that always smelled faintly like old soap and lemon disinfectant. The time clock sat on the wall, humming quietly. I pressed my badge to the scanner. Beep, the screen turned red. Not pink, not glitchy, blood red. And instead of my name, it displayed unknown user, Rawl. I pulled my badge back. Tried again. Beep. Unknown user, Raul. I frowned. Checked the digital clock above the break room door. 14 a.m., but my phone said 2:52. That's when I remembered the rule, and that's when the locker behind me breathed. It wasn't loud, just enough to stop my heart for half a second. A soft shh, like something taking a slow inhale through damp cloth. I turned. All the lockers were shut, still, but the third one from the left, mine, had a small smear on it. A handprint, palm open. On the inside, I took a step back. The lights flickered, not overhead, but from inside the locker. A dull, pulsing red glow, like there was something alive in there. My phone buzzed. Text from Anita. "Don't clock out alone. Are you at the clock? Get away, now." Then, "Is it red?" I didn't answer, because the locker clicked. I ran. Didn't. Wait. Didn't breathe. Just sprinted down the hall back into the fluorescent hell of the main store. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. No floor machines, no chatter, no footsteps. Everyone was gone. That's when I realized something was wrong with the time. I didn't feel like I had moved that far, but the store felt stretched. Aisles longer than they should be, signs hanging too low, lights humming in a slow, syrupy tone. I looked behind me. The hallway was gone, just aisle 7 now. Coffee and condiments was trapped in a looped space, somewhere between clock out and something else. And standing halfway down aisle 7 was me, but not me. He wore my face, my vest, even my tired slouch. But the smile was all wrong. It didn't reach his eyes. It didn't even move his face. It just was, like it had been carved there, and he was holding my badge. He turned it over in his hand like it was unfamiliar. Then he looked up and said, "You forgot to clock out." His voice was slow, off rhythm, like hearing yourself underwater. I backed up. "You're not me," I whispered. "You're right," he said. "I'm the one who does follow the rules." Then he ran at me. I don't remember much of the sprint. Just aisles blending, carts flying past in blurs, lights flickering faster and faster like a warning siren in Morse code. I turned down the bread aisle and nearly collided with Anita. She grabbed me. "Was it red?" she demanded. I nodded, gasping. My locker." She didn't wait. Dragged me straight to the break room, threw open the manager's office, and grabbed a key. Then she opened a small drawer. Inside, a long strip of receipts, twisted into a circle and bound with tape. On it were names. Dozens. She turned it over. There were 2 Raul entries. One scratched out, one fresh. "That's how we know who's real," she said. "The receipt strip remembers." I don't understand. "You went near the clock alone after hours. That clock doesn't just record time, it copies presence. The store tries to keep a version of everyone who stays too long. Your double didn't fully form yet, but next time, he will." I shook my head. "Why me? Why any of us?" She sighed. "The store feeds on memory, routine, identity, people. Like us, we're patterns, predictable. We do the same thing every night, easy to mirror, easy to steal. After that night, I never went near the clock unless Darnell or Anita was with me. The red screen didn't come back, but I noticed other things. My locker sometimes had a damp smell, like something had breathed inside it recently. My reflection in the freezer lagged behind me by a second. The mop bucket in aisle 9 would refill itself with black water, and one morning when I got home, I checked my apartment's answering machine, which I never used, and found a message. It was my voice. Don't trust them. Especially not Anita. She says she's protecting you, but she's just stalling for the store. You don't remember the first week. You forgot the real rule number 1. You broke it already. I deleted the message. But I didn't sleep that day, because I couldn't remember my first week at all. Just a blur of fluorescent lights, hums, and a deep, low whisper, like something under the tiles. A few days later, Charles called me into his office. "You've lasted longer than most," he said. "We keep track." Track of what? He slid over a drawer full of name tags, maybe 50, all with dates. Most stopped on or near their second or third week. A few, like mine, had no date at all. You haven't been claimed yet. Claimed? He leaned back. The store's hungry, Raoul, but picky. Some people it eats fast. Others it toys with. Copies. Duplicates. But a few, a rare few, it keeps around. To keep the loop going. You might be one of those. That's not a compliment. It's not a threat either, just a fact. I looked down at my tag. It was smudged now. The name Raoul faded. Is there a way out? Charles didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, "Not through the front door." That night at 3:17 a.m., the intercom crackled again. "Manager to back room. Manager to back room." Charles froze. His eyes filled with something between panic and surrender. "It's not for me anymore," he whispered. "It's for you." He handed me his keys. Then he walked toward the freezer. I never saw him again, but I swear the next night, the woman with no name was wearing his vest. It doesn't appear on any map of the store. It isn't counted in inventory. No cameras, no lights, no signal. You can only find it if you're lost. And once you enter aisle 13, you'll understand why it was erased. There was never supposed to be an aisle 13. You can check the store plans. They jump from 12 to 14 like nothing's missing, like it was never there to begin with. Ask Charles when he was still around, and he'd shrug. Bad luck number, marketing decision. But after his disappearance, I started questioning everything we were told. Because when the building itself lies to you, numbers stop meaning what they used to. Darnell was the one who slipped. We were in the break room, a rare lull in the night, when I asked what aisle he hated the most. 13, he muttered, then caught himself, eyes wide. I mean, 11. I meant 11. You said 13. No, I didn't. You did. He leaned in, whispered, "Forget it, Raoul, seriously, just forget it." But I didn't, and the store knew it. 3 nights later, it led me there. It always starts with a shift in the aisles. 1 minute I was in paper goods, the usual quiet hum of cardboard and plastic wrap, and the next, I was in unfamiliar territory. The tiles changed color. The overhead lights dimmed, almost like the power was conserving itself. Shelves rose taller, packed tighter. There were no labels, no signage, no exit signs. I turned back. Aisle 12 was gone. The number above me read 13. Handwritten in red marker, smeared and shaky, my blood turned cold. The air inside aisle 13 felt thick. Not hot or cold, just heavy, like walking through memory. No music played, no buzzing from the lights, just a dull pressure in my ears like I was underwater. The shelves were different too. No standard items, no cereal, no canned soup. Just strange, mismatched things. A row of birthday cards, all dated June 13th, 1987. A basket full of identical baby shoes, left foot only. A stack of VHS tapes labeled "Stock Footage, Do Not Watch Alone." A mirror with a sign above it. "Object does not reflect you." And strangest of all, a jar. Just one. Sitting alone. Inside it, my name tag. But not the one I wore. This one was old, stained. The name Raoul etched in crooked burnt letters, a faint red smear across it. I reached out. "Don't touch that." I turned. Anita. She stood at the aisle's edge, breath short, eyes wild. "How did you find it?" she demanded. "I didn't. It found me." Her hands trembled. "Then it's starting. You're remembering." "Remembering what?" She hesitated. "You weren't hired 3 weeks ago." "What are you talking about?" "You used to work. Here. Before. Years ago. You just don't remember. No one ever does when they come back." I stared at her. "I don't know. I just moved here. I applied." She shook her head. "How did you hear about the job?" I opened my mouth. Paused. I couldn't remember. No ad. No posting. No interview. Just a uniform in my closet. A name tag on my chest. "You were taken by the store," she whispered. "It erased you, then gave you back, but not whole. It's trying again." I backed away. "That's not possible." "Then why do you have 2 name tags?" I looked down. She was right. My real badge was still clipped to my vest, but the one in the jar was older, burnt around the edges, dried blood at the corner. I didn't remember ever bleeding. We left aisle 13 together, or tried to. The way back was gone. The aisle stretched behind us, longer than it had been, shelves pressing inward, ceilings sloping down, like the store was folding itself. "It's closing," Anita gasped. "The store doesn't like being seen." We ran, full sprint, past aisles of mannequins wearing our uniforms, past frozen images of ourselves, mid-task, mid-blink, mid-fear, and always the sound. A low groaning from the ceiling, like metal remembering something painful. Then, a door, unmarked, rusted, flickering light behind it. Anita pushed it open, and we spilled into a room I'd never seen before. It wasn't part of the store, it was below it. Concrete walls, pipes overhead, the air sharp with old bleach and mold. And across from us, a chalkboard. On it, scrawled in jagged white, the original rules. We never speak these aloud. Never speak your real name after 3 a.m. Never say you're going home. If you see a version of yourself, it's not the A, first time. The store remembers what the earth forgot. Aisle 13 is where lost shifts live. The intercom speaks in dead tongues. If the receipt prints backwards, run. Below that, more scribbles, desperate notes. One stood out. We tried to burn it down. It rebuilt itself. We tried to quit. It gave us new names. We tried to warn the customers. They never saw us again. I stared at it, hands shaking. Who wrote this? People. Like us, Anita said. Or versions of them. This is the root, where the store mind sleeps. The what? She turned to me. You think it's just a haunted Kroger? No. The building isn't haunted. The structure is. It's the layout, the pattern, the blueprint. Every Kroger shares some of it, but this one was the first, the anchor. And we're what? Sacrifices? We're echoes, reboots, custodians of a space that keeps looping itself. I sat down. My hands were trembling. My name was fake. My job was a trap. My memories weren't real. What do we do? She looked at me and for the first time, smiled. We break a rule. That night, we did the unthinkable. We stayed until 5:01 a.m., the sacred cutoff, the point no employee was supposed to cross. The fluorescent lights didn't just flicker. They died, one by one, like stars going out. The doors at the front didn't unlock like usual. They melted, just folded into the floor. The music turned backwards, and somewhere deep in the building, a new aisle emerged. Not aisle 13. Aisle 0. No shelves, just mirrors. The rules weren't made to protect us. They were written by the ones who stayed. The store doesn't trap people. It makes them forget they were ever free. If you've survived this long, you were never a worker. You were inventory. And when the receipt prints your face, you've already been shelved. The mirrors didn't reflect us when we entered aisle 0. No glass, no clarity, just cracked surfaces that shimmered when we moved, like water under tension. Each step forward triggered a pulse through the floor, like the building was breathing through the concrete. And then I saw him. Myself. But not just once. Hundreds of me. Each fractured reflection a different version. Some older, some bloodied. One missing an eye, one grinning with no lips, all watching. Anita stopped. Don't speak to them. They're me. They're what's left of you. The aisle stretched endlessly forward, the mirrors bending upward like the ribs of some ancient beast. A throne room for a creature made of repetition, routine, and resignation. At the end stood a checkout lane, no cashier, just the scanner, and beside it, a receipt printer, waiting. We approached. The scanner turned on without being touched. The screen blinked. Final item not yet scanned. Anita looked at me. It wants a name. What? It needs you to surrender what you are, your identity. That's the price of leaving. I stepped back. I won't give it my name. Then it'll take your shape. Suddenly the mirrors shivered, all at once. And from them, figures began to step out, quietly, carefully, like waking from a long sleep. Me, all of them. Hundreds. They surrounded us, forming a circle of silence. Their eyes empty, their hands reaching. Then one of them, the version of me with the stitched lips, stepped forward and placed a name tag on the conveyor belt. It read, Raoul. But beneath it, a second line glowed in static text. Returned. To stock. Anita pulled me back. This is your last chance, she said. Give it a false name, trick it, or burn the receipt. But whatever you do, do not let it print the real you. How do I burn it? You don't. It does. When it's rejected. Rejected by what? By memory. I closed my eyes. Focused. Tried to remember who I was, where I came from, but all I could see was the store. All I could hear was the intercom. All I could feel was the soft buzz of fluorescent lights in my bones. I had no childhood, no hometown, just aisles. That's when I knew. I had been here before. Anita screamed. The scanner had activated. A red light surged through the mirrors. The conveyor belt started to move. The stitched lip version of me smiled and stepped onto the belt, as if offering himself. The scanner flashed. Item, Employee Raw 013. Status, defective, processing. Then the printer began to churn. Slowly, agonizingly, a receipt began to print. I ran forward, grabbed it before it finished, and stared at what it said. Returned item, Raoul shelf location, aisle, 13 memory. Status, fragmented reintegration. Denied burn status. Initiated and then... The receipt caught fire in my hand. The stitched lip version of me howled. Not in pain, but in rage. The mirrors cracked louder. Figures began to vanish, turning into dust and ash, as if the act of denying the receipt had unwritten their existence. I looked at Anita. I remember now. The first week. She waited. I never applied. I was restocked. I escaped once. Years. Ego. I made it out, but the store called me back, offered me another shift. She nodded. We all returned. I stared at the scanner. But why? Because the store isn't haunted, she whispered. It's hungry, for patterns, for order, for people who never leave. It uses us to keep its shape, like blood in the veins of a god made of aisles. Then, how do we kill it? She smiled. We break the loop. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a receipt from her first shift. It was old, burned at the edges. Her name, Anita, barely visible. She handed it to me. Scan me, she said. Then deny it. Burn me. What? You need to burn the receipt of a willing item, one that remembers. That's how we close the aisle. That's how we collapse the pattern. I shook my head. No, you were taken. But I was born here. You still have a self. I'm just inventory. I've always been. Please, Raoul, end my shift. Tears filled my eyes. I stepped to the scanner, hands shaking. Anita stepped onto the belt. The scanner blinked. Item, employee Anita 01. Status, awake, scanning. The receipt printed. I held it. It said, item, Anita memory. Status, resistant. Role, rule keeper. Violation, terminal burn. Status, Validatetti lit it with no match. It burned in blue fire. The mirrors exploded. Light surged through the aisle. The figure screamed, disintegrating. The scanner sparked. The belt convulsed. The receipt printer melted into the floor. Anita smiled one last time. Tell them the rules changed. And then, she was gone. Nothing but her name tag remained. The aisle collapsed around me, and I woke up at the front doors, alone. It was 5:01 a.m. The sky was pale purple outside. Birds chirping. For the first time, the sliding doors opened without a sound. No alarms, no voice on the intercom, no receipt, just the empty hum of a store that had lost its loop. I walked outside, looked back once. The sign above the store had changed. It no longer said Kroger. It just said, "Thank you for shopping with us. Now hiring." And the flyer on the glass? Night shift open. Immediate start. Uniform provided. Must be forgettable. Epilogue. Weeks passed. I moved, left Texas, took odd jobs, but never in retail. Never again. I wrote the rules down, all of them. Not to warn others. That doesn't work. They'll never believe you. But so I wouldn't. Forget. Because one night, while unpacking a box I didn't remember sealing, I found a single item, my old name tag, and beneath it, a receipt. Welcome back. Your next shift begins at 11:59 p.m. Aisle 13 is ready.